Hi, welcome to What's New in sABR version 10.0. Major update is that there is a student version and an instructor version. Here's the tab here. This allows the students to perform in open mode when it says student version and just creates a new case, randomly creates a new case. You can also still select new cases here in the audiogram panel. If you select on one of the assignments, we'll just go to assignment 2 for demonstration here. This is an assignment looking at a pediatric case for sensory hearing loss. The students are blind to it, so the audiogram disappears and they're unable to go back into the audiogram, so they do not know the thresholds of this pediatric case. If they then go and save the data after they've created waveforms, done their assessment, they save the data and then they send that to the instructor. And then we'll see as we'll load up that assignment in the instructor mode and be able to unlock all the features so you can see the audiogram and any of the other case information you'd like to see. What you have here is the instructor version. So just like the same tabs for the student version, there's an assignment 1, 2, and final exam, but there's a button off to the right here which allows you to lock or unlock all of the views for the instructor. So we're in the open mode, so it's really not unlocking anything. But if you go back to that assignment 2, like we were just talking about, here we've generated an assignment 2. And now we can see the audiogram and all of the waveform latencies that wouldn't normally be present. So if we just click that to off, this is what would normally be seen in the student view as we just saw. But if we go and we click on the instructor view, enter your password, and you can see all that information. Plus, all the buttons are unlocked, so you can plot all different types of data. You can turn the acquire offline to acquire offline, and you can go back and forth. So it just basically turns it back to the open mode. This allows you to load an assignment, so I'll just demonstrate that here. We have an assignment that was already done. So we'll look at this as assignment 2 here, and it says that it was saved in the instructor version. That's because I created it in the instructor version for this demonstration, but normally that won't come up. And it'll just take a minute or so to load in. It's replotting all of the waveforms and the report. Okay, great. Now that it's loaded, it might take a couple minutes depending on how many waveforms you have from that student. So just give it a moment. What we can see is that there are different pages that the students placed their waveforms on. So there's really nothing on the acquire page, but page 1 has their ABR judgments for their tone ABR there for 2000 hertz. And then we have the bone conducted plots for 60 dB, 50 dB. And you can see their markings and what they decided, as well as all the information that's needed. So then you can go ahead and go to the unlock and to see whether or not they matched their audiogram. So now we can see the audiogram, but we can go back to the ABR panel with the pages and we can review their files. The other thing is that's nice about doing this is that you can go and select one of the files and say, I'm not too sure whether there's a response there, and click on data and signal and plot the two. The signal is in green and the overall data is in blue. You can also present that as all the data, so the noise is in purple. So we can see that there's definitely a no response and they've gotten that correct. So we can just go back and plot that data. And you can also do that for maybe even this. They thought that there was a response here. Let's see if there is. We can click on data plus signal and find out whether there is a response. There is a tiny one. It was probably not the response that they were looking for, but there definitely was a response there in the contralateral channel. So that's very helpful for grading assignments. The other major update in the sABR version 10.0 is the EEG and the modeling of the EEG. I'm just going to go back into the instructor view. It's fine. We'll clear all of this. It'll open back up into the open mode, and the new case will be generated. And we just go ahead and click on the EEG, and we can see the ongoing EEG. What's different in the sABR version 10 is that we've added this state and noise ability for it to fluctuate across the session time. So the session time is here on the horizontal axis by the noise gain. And the noise gain has two different functions in it, which is the overall noise gain shown in red, and it fluctuates across the session, as well as the sleep and wake gain. Okay, so this is randomly set for each individual or case. The other aspect is that you can change it so only the state function of the wake and sleep changes across the session while maintaining the noise, overall noise gain. You can make both of them stable, and the little slider bars down here will allow you to adjust that, and you can see when I adjust that, the EEG changes. So that's more of a wake state, and then you can change this all the way down to a very, very sleepy person. Okay, you can also just change the overall noise gain, so increasing the noise makes a general gain function on that noise. Another major update was the marker labeling of the waveforms. I'm just going to turn off this EEG. We're going to do a quick little recording here just to show you the markings. So we're just acquiring this offline, so you're not going to see an online averaging coming up. We have the data plotted there with a signal. I'm just going to turn that back to the data only. We've changed the markers a bit. We still have cochlear microphonic wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We added this no response marker and a could not evaluate marker, and this is still our text label. But with the markers, I'm just going to go ahead here and mark wave 5, and we can click and drag that over. What you'll see is it will update the latency in which it is occurring. You can also click the prime value. It shows the latency there and then the peak-to-peak amplitude in the brackets. And we can click and drag that anywhere. The really new updated feature is you can make it so it's peak only or label, or you can provide the peak info, and that scrolls and changes. If we add another marker, let's say if we were so inclined to say that's wave 1, just for demonstration purposes, right now it's not, but we have another marker here, and in version in 10.0, we can have it so a specific marker maintains its latency and amplitudes, whereas the other one we can turn off. We can just say peak label, or we can turn both on, or we can turn that one off. So you can have it so it doesn't clutter up your display. So that's an added feature. You still are able to change the up and down, being at plus and minus labeling here if you like. The other feature is you can delete these as you did before, but it's just a right click to delete. And the other thing is that you can rename them. So if we put in a text label here, I'm just going to keep it as text. We'll put it right there, and I'm going to say we want to maybe relabel that. Let's go and we right click on the text label, and we'll just say relabel. I'm going to go ahead and it relabels it. And the last update we wanted to talk to you about was the 60 hertz noise. We'll go back to the EEG. Here it's going on. We're going to turn this so it goes to a flat line. Everything turns down, or we can just turn this down to 0 for the noise gain. We don't have any noise in now being recorded or shown in the EEG window, but we've updated it so we can really see that 60 hertz online cycling. I'm sorry for those of you who are in a country where they have 50 hertz AC cycling for your line noise. We will be adding that to a future update as well. But you can definitely show the principle of 60 hertz noise contamination into your EEG, and then you can simply just give it some larger EEG noise value, and they will be able to see that 60 hertz contamination clearly, and then when you turn it off and back on. There's also a function here for high frequency, where you can see adding in high frequency noise changes the EEG, and obviously it changes the recording. So that's a little addition to help learners understand the aspects of 60 hertz and high frequency noise contamination. This concludes the major updates to sABR version 10.0. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out the sABR website for any future updates or any of the minor updates that are listed on the sABR website, and I hope you enjoy using sABR.